So first time ever, instant reaction to a Packer game. We're doing this during a Seahawks game. It's a little shocking that you want to even be part of this. I think you saw yourself on video and you're like, I want to do this again. I think that's what happened.
Well, I had to switch rooms. I didn't want to be in my bedroom again, but as Seattle just pins the Rams inside the 10 and gives up a 25-yard run.
Well, that's a great segue to the Packers-Jaguars game and the inability for the Packers to do anything on special teams and to keep the Jaguars into the game. So I normally don't like instant reactions because I'm emotional. My dad, I think, yelled at me multiple times during the game because I'm pacing. And I am a 38-year-old man that couldn't sit down and was pacing and doing push-ups during the game just to handle my nervous energy.
You're doing like Bucky Badger push-ups, like every touchdown you start jacking out some push-ups, or?
Well, today would have been a good day for that. They didn't score a ton of points, right? Yeah. This was the first time they didn't score over 30 all year. So here's the deal. I don't normally look at Twitter during a Packer game. I have gotten worse and worse over the last couple of days, especially last night. I was all over Twitter during the Badger game. But I saw after the game a couple things that just drove me absolutely nuts, okay? I'm going to share them with you. Number one, a post from someone that said, see, Rashawn Gary's another one of Goody's busts. And I'm thinking to myself, in that last drive and really all game, Rashawn Gary got continual pressure on the quarterback. There was no other pressure from other spots. So this, again, becomes that venom that I have for Packers Twitter, that I get so annoyed with some of the things that weren't the real stories of the game. The story of the game is simple, right? And honestly, it was written by the Jaguars website. I think Thursday the article came out. I looked at this right before I decided we were going to record this. They said 10 keys to the game. Number one, they had to run the ball. That's pretty clearly, right?
That's a lot of keys.
But yeah, I know, right? It was like the 10 bullet points to beat the Packers, okay? It's actually a really good article. It was on their website. You can look it up, right?
Number one of every team should be run the ball.
Team run the ball, right?
Yeah.
Then it was let Luton throw, which I thought they did a good job of balancing, mixing up what they're doing. I would argue they should have took a couple more shots down the field to back the Packers off at times. But both of those things happened. Then
my thing, and I do this on video games. I even do this on video games. And which, by the way, I hooked up my Super Nintendo today. My kids are downstairs playing Mario Kart right now.
I was going to say, how did you get rid of your kids right now?
Yeah, they're playing Mario Kart. And we talked about this with Graham Mertz's first start going into the college season. Like, you run the ball and you throw some screens and you max protect and you take deep shots. And I get that the wind was pretty bad today at Lambeau, but and he did miss one or two down the seam, but they could have thrown the ball down the field more.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that they didn't put him in position to have to make dangerous throws or reads or anything like that.
But those were only two of the amazing keys, right? So then we get to number 3. Throw one or fewer interceptions. Luton had one pick, bad throw, receiver fell down. Number 4, pressure Rodgers. They got to him once. I think Josh Allen got a sack. They had a drive where they pressured him on back-to-back plays, but really they didn't get to him as much as obviously I think they would like to. And then number 5, more importantly, sack Rodgers, which, again, they only got to him one time.
And nobody ever, like, he very rarely gets sacked, right?
Absolutely, right?
And when he can throw the ball out of bounds whenever he wants, from wherever he wants.
And I knew this was coming. I knew that was coming.
Intentional grounding. No, but he got sacked once, and just looking at the stats on ESPN, they knocked him down 3 times. Or they hit him.
And I think all 3 of those were on back-to-back drives. Number 6, hold Adams under 100 yards, which they did. Number 7, ignore the tundra, which I think clearly they did. Okay, number 8, get a score on a turnover, or I would argue special teams. They did. Number 9, score early. They were up 3-0. They eventually were up 10-7, tied the game 17-17, took the lead at 2017, and then play your best game of the year. Literally, if you look at these, 10 bullet points, key to success in an NFL game. The Jags did almost all 10 of them, and they still come up on the wrong side of the game because at the end of the day, guys, talent wins football games, and the Packers are more talented than the Jaguars, right? I think that's the truth of it. They gave him a special teams touchdown. Rodgers had 2 turnovers himself. Well, not 2 himself. They had 2 on offense. They've had 3 all year. They had 2 in this game. They gave up 10 points there. That's 17 of the Jaguars' 20 points, and they still won 24-20 in a game where they were atrocious on special teams. Absolutely dog shit. And I'm going to say it. Sorry, I shouldn't have said it. But they're dog shit on special teams. And on offense, they had no flow, no rhythm, really struggled. And honestly, Mike Pettin.
And their 2 best players turn the ball over. Right?
Rodgers threw a Russell Wilson-esque interception.
Mike, you would never make that throw. No, but that was a bad ball. And then, Adams got loose with it and he fumbled too. That's your 2 best players turning the ball over, and you're still able to win. Was it clean? No. Was it ugly? Absolutely. But they won a game ultimately that they should have won, and they're 7-2. And it
reminds me of some of their wins last year, right? It reminds me of, them stopping McCaffrey or whoever against the Panthers in the snow, unlike the one where the Kyle Allen-led, Panthers are marching to beat the Packers at the end of the game. I think they won a real close game against the Redskins last year, right? I think with Dwayne Haskins. They've had games, especially last year under LaFleur, where they're finishing in the fourth quarter and they were winning close games. Now you're frustrated as a Packer fan because it's the Jaguars. And, I saw one tweet today where it was like, it's almost like the Packers are surprised by the energy of the Jaguars. I'm thinking to myself, these are professional players. They're not surprised at all. They're just getting punched in the mouth by the Jaguars and they're not responding very well.
Which is a criticism, right, of the Packers.
Absolutely.
Going back for years now, is that when they get punched, they don't very often punch back. They're just not that physical punch you back team.
Well, you saw it on 3rd and 1. I mean, again, I have been probably the biggest fan of Matt LaFleur that there is, but an A gap, 1 back, no fullback lead, no wing player to kick a player out. That's the play you run on 3rd and 1 that could have closed the game out. You give the ball back to the Jaguars. And again, for all the people that want to criticize the Packers defense, the Jaguars were constantly in position to be able to get the lead or take the lead. Yeah. And the Packers defense held up, and their pass rush, which has been non-existent all year, was heated up in that last drive.
They shut that game down on that last drive. When I came out, I was laying down in the bedroom. I came out to see where the Jaguars had the ball. I was like, I'm going to go watch the end of this. And I saw where they had the ball and starting that drive. And I was like, ooh, this could get interesting. He just needs to hit 1 or 2 throws and you're in position to win the game. And he didn't have time to get that. I do appreciate on that 4th and 26 when he tried to use the official as an extra blocker.
How about that too? It ends up, of course, being 4th and 26. Like it couldn't have been 4th and 25. Like I'm waiting for Freddie Mitchell to jump out there for the Eagles, but of course, I think the biggest thing about this game is all the things that scare Packer fans are what you saw today. You saw a physical team that had some success running the ball, and the Packers didn't respond real well. The Jaguars were physical up front and stopped the run. Then with the wind being the way it was, with Adams getting tweaked, they really struggled throwing the ball down the field besides the one shot to MVS, and all the things that freak you out a little bit because you're putting a close game like that in the hands of the defense. Packer fans, again, if you watch Twitter, you would have just assumed they already lost about an hour and a half ago, instead of the fact they did win. They're now 7-2. And then your first announcement following the game is David Bakhtiari, now the highest paid offensive lineman in the history of football. It's like, hey, what a great Sunday. Let's celebrate the Packers all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's a big Packer day. As soon as I saw that news starting to come out, I was looking forward to your thoughts on the extension. I know all the details aren't out, so it's hard to make any
until we know real cap numbers, it's hard to tell. I mean, I look at like Kenny Clark's deal. They were able to keep his base salary this year really, really low, and actually for next year, his base salary is pretty low. I would assume that they're going to use some of the rollover money from this year as a March bonus, and then make a large lump sum payment to make that roster bonus higher. So he'll get more in upfront money as salary cap bonuses,
right.
But yet it'll be spread over the life of the contract. They can pay him more right away and have it not affect the cap because it'll be spread over 4 years. I would assume that's what they're going to do. Obviously, it makes me concerned on, are they going to bring back Aaron Jones? But I think
ask if this makes you think anything about Aaron Jones.
Well, I think the story that people aren't telling when they talk about the Packers salary cap issues, or however you want to look at it, is most likely you're going to see a Devontae Adams extension too. And right now his cap number is, I think, $16 million. So they have, again, the ability to drop his number down, just like they're going to do with Kenny Clark. I'm assuming that's what they're going to do with Bakhtiari. So it's going to give them the ability to hopefully bring back, whether that's King, Lindsley, Aaron Jones, whatever.
Yeah, you think King's got to be on his way out, as injured as he's been?
Given the fact they've been as cautious with him as they have, it's kind of like, are they holding him back because they don't want him to get hurt and he is an asset? Or is it finally it's too much? He's been hurt too much. He's missed too much time. And that's something, again, I think people don't realize. They played this game with Kadar Holman, Chandon Sullivan, and Josh Jackson at corner, and the Jaguars, regardless of if Jake Luton's their quarterback or not, actually have pretty good receivers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, right. Cole's a nice receiver. Chark is good. They were missing their rookie from Colorado, who they do a lot of different things with.
I was looking forward to Chanel playing, because then it could have been one of those like, see, the Packers should have took him. I told you. Oh, right. I was just waiting for it.
Yeah, and they use him in different ways too. They run the ball with him a lot.
He seemed like a guy that would have been a really good fit for the Packers.
Yeah, well, he's a 49er type guy to me, right? They can run the sweep with him, throw him screens, all that kind of stuff. He's a big run after catch guy, bigger, stronger guy, physical. By the way, 13-play, 93-yard drive for the Rams, who have now scored every time they've touched the ball and are at 245 total yards. So you guys save Packer fans, save the petting, save the defense, save all of this different stuff, because it is falling on just deaf, frustrated ears when it comes to me right now. Like,
so I think that's the point. Okay, so they're 7-2. They're at the top of the NFC. Obviously, the Seahawks need to win to go 7-2. I don't know who the Saints play this week. Do you know off the top of your head?
Aren't they tonight's game? No. Saints are – hold on, let me look.
I think they're in division.
No, actually. They're losing.
To? Who are they losing to?
49ers.
Wow, with Nick Mullins. That's right.
Yeah.
So they have to win, obviously, to go 7-2. But I think, hearing an outside view maybe is what actually makes, this dynamic good, because as Packer fans, all we do is talk about our problems. And what you're telling me is the Seahawks couldn't stop, insert, they're like a leaky faucet. I mean, you can use any analogy you want, but they're bad on defense right now. What you're telling me.
I'll put it this way. Joe Milton in Michigan could go out and get a 30 burger.
Well, listen, let's not go too far. They'd run quarterback power with him on the one against an 11-man box.
And they might score.
And they might score. I think the biggest thing is that the NFC really has teams that are talented. They have good teams. But I don't know if anyone's running out in front, because they all have warts. They all have issues. The Seahawks, again, their secondary to me is a major issue. They can't stop people. The Packers are not a very physical team, although against a physical team today, they were able to, hold up, in a close game. And then the Saints, Drew Brees looks about 90.
Right. He just doesn't throw the ball down the field anymore. And who knows what's up with Michael Thomas. They've got Kamara, they've got their defense. But yeah, Brees doesn't scare you. I mean, he's not going to make mistakes and he can win games, but he's not going to scare you anymore. You've got Tampa Bay sitting at 7-3. You've got the Cardinals and the Rams in action right now. They're both 5-3. Like you said, the 49ers 4-5 if they ever get healthy. There's no Steelers type team, right, who is undefeated in the AFC. There's a lot of talent and on any given game, right? When you get to the playoffs, any given night, any of those teams can win and any of them can lose. And I think that makes the NFC playoffs, which will obviously be coming up, very exciting because every game should be a contested game.
Well, and I think that's the thing that really should be the takeaway from all this, right? Is right now what matters is win football games, put yourself in the best position, and keep getting better. And I think Aaron Rodgers said it at the beginning of the year, and people always write it off as, the PR answer, right? Or the answer the quarterback's supposed to give to the media. But, we're only 9 games in. The Packers have a long way to go. The Seahawks have a long way to go to really determine what they're going to look like in December, January, to compete, to win the Super Bowl, to be in the Super Bowl, however you want to look at it. And right now, they're 7-2 and they're positioning them for that. Do they need to get better? Absolutely, right? But they also are a team that's still trying to get healthy. They're still trying to find ways to use certain people. They're trying to take pressure off Devontae Adams. They're trying to, there's a lot of things they're trying to do. The Seahawks, in their case, right? I know this is Packers, Jaguars, but, they activated Snacks Harrison, so maybe he can solve some of the, issues stopping the run. They still can't get to the quarterback still.
Start today.
Yeah, Snacks needs some help, I think.
Yeah, and we're sleeping on the NFC East here.
Yeah, we're sleeping on the NFC East because the Redskins storm back and lose to the Lions, and that Giants and Eagles game. My gosh, my dad said to me during the Packer game, he goes, I don't know why you get so crazy about this stuff. You get yourself all worked up. And I said, well, first of all, it's bad football right now. So me watching bad football makes me frustrated, right? It has nothing to do. And then all of a sudden they showed highlights of the Eagles game. I'm like, okay, let's take a step back here. I could be watching Redskins Lions.
Which ended up actually a pretty good finish for the quality of game that it was. It was, I mean, I didn't see all of the end of it, obviously, but I saw Washington in typical fashion against the Lions. Storms back and makes it a game, and the Lions either win or lose.
On a field goal.
On a field goal, and today they happened to win it. 59-yard bomb from Prater.
I think my biggest takeaways from the game, and I don't know about what you thought is, I really felt that they're starting to use Darnell Savage in a way that he can be a playmaker on defense, and they need him to be a playmaker on defense. They're using Adrian Amos in a more complementary way to his actual talents. I feel like Pettine is adjusting more as the years gone in, and a lot of people criticize, and this is my favorite. So you hate the Russ Wilson issues that you get on Twitter. I absolutely hate on second down the tweets about second and long, drink, because it's a drinking game. Then it's the third and long or third and goal, 3-man rush, drink, because Pettine does that every time. So people got frustrated when Keelan Allen or whatever his name is, Keelan Cole, he caught that touchdown pass in 4 defenders that Luton fits the ball in.
Right.
And no one makes a comment that Oren Burks literally drops outside of the box as an inside linebacker, creates a huge throwing window. There's no receiver even in his area. If he just backpedals, he intercepts the ball. Like, that simple.
Hey, if he rushes the passer, maybe that hole's not there. That's probably the counter, right? Like, I've actually never noticed the whole drink thing until I started, going
it's
on
unbelievable.
The Football First podcast.
It's unbelievable, Chad.
Timeline, and it's all over there. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't follow.
I've established it. This is what I've established.
I follow a few Seahawks people, and there's a lot of frustration last year with the run game. This year, it's nothing play calling wise. It's all just frustration on why can nobody make a play on defense all of a sudden. But it's not like, I mean, Ken Norton does take some heat on Seahawks Twitter, but they've never been a real blitz heavy team. Like the Seahawks have always been a rush 4-guy defense. They've never been a big blitz team.
No, they never have been.
Actually blitzed quite a bit, and they had like three or four linebacker sacks, and they still gave up 44.
But see, Packers Twitter would be all over Goody because he doesn't have enough talent on the D line. If you're going to build a defense that way, and you're going to run the pass rush, you got to have a good D line, right? You got to have pass rush. But yet Schneider seems to get a pass, and I think what annoys me, I think this is what's really where it comes down to. I think I said this to you, maybe not on here, is it's almost like if they lose, I have a whole week of insufferable people that I have to listen to because I choose to look on Twitter. I get it. I don't have to, but I choose. And it's like 99% of the time, they're not even right with what they're saying, right? Like the people that are chastising Rashawn Gary, like, yes, you're right. Rashawn Gary in training camp in no contact and shorts looks a lot better than he looks. It is more effective, in shorts than he is against physical. No shit, man. Like that's what happens. Everyone looks good in shorts. But the reality is that right tackle was in Luton's chest pretty much the entire second half, and he finally got home. And he's a guy that played a 5-technique defensive end that they've moved positions. Now, you can argue and be frustrated that they continue to play guys out of position. Casey Hayward, Micah Hyde, I would argue Clinton Dix, Dayton Jones, Nick Perry, you name it, they've played people out of position. But the reality of it is he ends the game with all of that pressure on first, second, and third down, and people still criticize him because he's not Brian Burns, because he's not you know what he is? He's Preston Smith's replacement next year. That's what he is.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
It's just one of the things, and that's I think what gets me worked up. And again, when I look at the Packers Jaguars, what I see improved usage of their safeties, more plays made by them throughout the game. The second thing I noticed, still poor tackling. Big difference between watching the Jaguars at the point of attack, how physical they were, how they wrapped up and tackled, and the Packers. The things that would concern me about the Packers moving forward is you have to tackle better. That's the thing people should really be concerned about if they're analyzing the Packers. Yeah, and then offensively, they had a hard time running the ball. And they didn't really move the pocket and boot and waggle as much as I thought they should. When they did, they hit Tanyan, they hit MVS on a crosser. There's games where I feel like they go away from all of their boot and waggle stuff, and everything's just play action. It's just play action. None of it is moving the pocket and letting Rodgers hit a crosser.
Well, that's like what the Badgers did last night, right? They did a ton of out of their play action stuff was a lot of sprint outs and a lot of play action sprint, play action short throw, short field, easy 1 or 2 man read. That way, and Michigan had some key D linemen out, but that way you don't have to leave your guys on an island either. Because when they did try a straight drop back play action, they had Ferguson trying to block a defensive end, and it didn't work.
Ferg.
So, and here's my other question is, I'm not the big Packer guy, but do they not have another guy they can just run in motion every couple times to fake a handoff like they do with Tyler Ervin? Like it's like Tyler Ervin.
They did as the game went on. I mean, they did it with everyone. Malik Taylor did, MVS did, but again, like the Badgers, you would love for them to hand those, right? Every once in a while, a little bit more. And they did early in the year, against the Vikings. I think they handed 4 jet sweeps to 4 different players, which has set up a lot of the stuff they've been doing. But it's almost like they're getting to the point that they got to start handing those pretty soon to get you to even honor it, because the defensive ends for the Jaguars were bending hard down the line. They didn't care about the jet sweep at all.
Right, and so just hand it off once in a while. Like Malik Taylor can run the football, I'm sure.
I think he did last week against the Niners. They handed one to him, but
Yeah.
anyways, Packers win. They're 7-2. They have the best record in the NFC. I think is correct. That's a fair statement as of right now.
Yep.
And they get another really physical team who can rush the passer in the Indianapolis Colts next week. So another test for the Packers. They'll go on the road, I believe. They're in Indy, which was a house of horrors for your guy Brett Favre. But we'll see if Aaron Rodgers can play that.
Any place.
Any dome was, except if he went out on Bourbon Street the night before and hit Andre Rison to open up a game. So, listen, man, that's
the Seahawks' best pass rusher just made got a strip sack and they recovered it. You know who the best pass rusher is, right?
It's the guy that played like tight end or something, right?
No, it's Jamal Adams, their safety.
Right. Well, that's enough Seahawks talk during Packers Jaguars instant reaction. No, you're good, man. All right, man. I'll talk to you later this week.
All right. Have a good one.
See you, bud.